Here we go. I recorded, so you don't need to remind me. We are solving inequalities. Here's the beautiful thing about today's lesson. What you've been doing in chapter 2 was all an equal sign, right? What we're doing today is just like what you did in chapter 2 with the equal sign, but now there's an inequality there instead. The process is exactly the same. You do nothing different. So it should feel very familiar to you. Your answer is going to look a little bit different because it's an inequality instead. And then we're going to graph our answers like we did yesterday or Friday. Oh, you're not seeing it. Let me show it to you. I'm recording. Now are you seeing it? Yes. Okay, so here we go. This first problem, it says, what are the solutions of the given inequality? And here's what I want you to remember, okay? When it's an equal sign, right? When it's x equals 7, how many answers do you have? One. X equals 7, that's your only answer. But when it's an inequality, you have a plethora of answers that can work, right? Which is why we draw a point, open or closed, with an arrow, because that arrow keeps going, which means your answers keep going, okay? So that's probably the biggest difference with what you're doing here today. So how you solve these is you kind of treat them as if there's an equal sign there. If there were an equal sign there, what would your first step be? What? Add 15. We want to isolate the x, okay? Get x by itself. So we would add 15 and add 15. But then you leave everything as you see it. So x, this is 0, is greater than, what's negative 12 plus 15? 3. On your test, some of you told me that negative 12 plus 15 is 27. Pay attention to the negatives, right? So x is greater than 3. That's your solution. How do you graph that x is greater than 3? Arrow to the right. And is it open or closed?
Open.
This is open. So an open dot at 3, and x is greater than 3. So it's the numbers that are bigger than 3 that we want to graph. So you draw that in, and that's your graph. Piece of cake, right? Okay. What do you do on B? Add 3. Okay, now here's the deal. You have 13 is greater than or equal to x. You don't have to flip that. But if you're going to use the little cheat that I gave you of drawing an arrow in, you do have to flip it, okay? You may leave your answer just like that. If we want the x to be first, then what symbol comes after it? Less than or equal to. Okay, so you can do either one of these, and my apologies for not giving you a number line that has a 13 on it. 11, 12, 13. Excuse me. Is this open or closed? Why? That equal to bar, right? That means it could equal 13. So here's 13, so you're going to put a solid dot. Which direction does your arrow go? To the left. It is less than or equal to. So you're going like this and shading that in. Okay, look at letter C here. T plus 6 is greater than negative 4. What do? Take away the 6. So you get T is greater than, same symbol. What is this? Negative 10. So here's your negative 10, open or closed dot? Open, because there's no equal to bar, and T is greater than. So as long as your variable's first, you can make it an arrow. The arrow points right. So your graph looks like that. Make sense? That's all you're doing today, really. Okay? The only other thing is throw a word problem in with it. So take a look at these two setups. The first one says the hard drive on your computer has a capacity of 120 gigabytes. You have used 85. You want to save more videos on your hard drive. What are the possible sizes of the videos you can save? So I want you to write an inequality first and then solve that inequality, okay? But I really do care that you can write the inequality that makes sense with it. So take a second, see if you can write an inequality, then tell your neighbor which one you wrote and see if they wrote the same one. Go. Write an inequality. Something plus, something minus, something less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, less than, greater than, what's it going to be? Work that out. Write an inequality. Keen's got it. Who else has it? Just tell your neighbor. Henry and Brody, do you guys agree? Okay, who agreed with their neighbor? Did you check? What'd you get? What inequality would you write here? There you go. So your original, I used V for videos. So I did videos plus 85. X is fine. It's not technically videos, it's space really. So you can use whatever variable you want. But V plus 85 somehow relates to 120. Less than or equal to, because you could use all 120 gigs, but you cannot use any more than that, right? So less than or equal to 120. And then how do you solve that? Take away 85. So V is less than or equal to, when you subtract that. 35. So that means what?
There's 35 gigabytes left.
There are 35 left, so you may use 35 or less gigabytes of space. And if you haven't figured this out already, I'm super picky on word problems that you explain what you're doing. So explain it. You can use 35 gigabytes or less for your videos. All right, last one. Anyone know what the botany club is? What do they study? Plants, botany. The botany club has a goal to sell at least, okay, here's your key word, at least 25 plants for a fundraiser. Club members sell 8 plants on Wednesday, 9 plants on Thursday. What are the possible number of plants the club can sell on Friday to meet their goal? We should say to meet or exceed their goal. How could you set up an inequality from that? Anyone got it? What plus what? Brody. 8 plus 9 plus P. Did anyone get that? Anyone get something different? You put this? One of those is right. Which one's right?
The first one. The second one, because they want to have it, but they can have more than one.
Would they have more than that with the second one?
Yeah. First, I don't know.
Think about it.
The first one.
What is it saying?
Oh, it's the first one.
Okay, listen. Think about this.
It's because 25 can be more than what they have right now.
25 is their goal.
They could get more than 25.
It's
They
number one.
can get more.
Okay, let's solve them. Let's try that. If we solved this, this is 17 plus P and 25. This is, maybe don't write these down because one of them's wrong. Write the right one down when we're done. If you take away 17, that's a 1. Right? This says two different things. Now, I personally, when I set up my initial one, I flip-flop the whole thing because I like to have the variable first, but you don't have to. Okay, but think of it this way. The plants has to be greater than or equal to 8 if we flip this one around. The plants has to be less than or equal to 8 if we flip this one around. If we want to meet or exceed 25.
Oh, it has to be greater.
My Apple Pen just said.
No, it's the first one. Plants have to be greater.
Do it.
It's the first one, right? You can make, or they could sell 8 plants. Are you going to make it?
Yeah, we're gonna make it.
Okay. You could sell 8 plants or more, right? So these are super tricky, you guys, because I think when people see at least, they get confused with what that means. At least means you need this or more, right? So the way that I would set this up, I would set it up like this. 8 plus 9 plus whatever they sell on Friday has to be more than or equal to their goal of 25. That's the way that I would set it up, personally. You don't have to. That way, when you go 17 plus F is greater than or equal to 25, and you take away the 17, on Friday, they have to sell more than or equal to 8 plants, okay? So was it the first one or the second one?
Third one.
It was the first one, right? This one is not the one we want. So you can do either one of these ways, but then explain it. They should sell 8 plants or more on Friday. Okay? Oh, I gotta sneeze. Excuse me. Questions on that? Short and sweet and to the point, right?